Hello everyone. Today we are discussing about J.P. Guliford's SOI model or structure of intellect model. Before going to discussing about structure of intellect, we say something about J.P. Guliford. J.P. Guliford was an American psychologist best known for his work in intelligence and creativity. He first proposed the concept of divergent thinking, including the distinction between convergent and divergent production in 1950, and observed creative people tend to exhibit divergent type of thinking more than common. During the time of servicing psychology clinic, J.P. Guliford was impressed with the unevenness of children's abilities in performing activities. Especially while he compared his and his brother's aptitudes in doing the same job, he wondered which factor has made the differences. He realized intelligence is not a unitary concept, but a composite of different abilities. He then showed a strong interest in searching the factors that became his dominant focus of his career, that is, individual difference. He then tried to classify the mental abilities that resulted in his famous theory on intelligence, named Structure of Intellect, and was presented to an international conference on factor analysis in Paris in 1955. Now, how J.P. Guliford defined intelligence. Uh, in his Structure of Intellect model, uh, final version, Education and Psychological Measurement, 1988, J.P. Guliford described intelligence as being a systematic collection of a large number of abilities or functions for processing different kinds of information in various ways. That is a different definition which J.P. Guliford had given. Now we see the development of SOI model. Guliford supported the views of L.L. Thurston and primarily influenced by Spearman, but eventually he rejected Charles Spearman's view that intelligence could be characterized in a single numerical parameter. He explored multidimensional aspects of human mind. He believed that the structure of human intellect is based on a number of different mental abilities. The number of possible abilities in Guliford's SOI model increased over the years from 120 to 150, and in the latest version there is 180 now. Guliford suggested every mental process or intellectual activity can be described in terms of three basic dimensions or parameters, such as operation, content, and product dimension. He argued that intelligence consisted of 150 different and independent skills, though it is now 180. Each of these intellectual abilities or structures is interlinked. Now, we are seeing the three dimensions. What are the three dimensions and what it is? Operations, the process of thinking. Contents, what we think. Products, the end results of our thinking. Therefore, he thinks 150 intellectual abilities which are presented in the next slide. There is a model where we cite the three dimension of SOI model, Guliford's. Content, operation, product. Here, content consists of four: figural, symbolic, semantic, and behavioral. Operations, five: cognitions, memory, convergent thinking, divergent thinking, evaluation. These are the mental abilities. And products, units, classes, relations, systems, transformations, and implications. Initially, it has consist of 120. Next, the figural content of content dimension has been divided into two parts, that is audio and visual, and then it has become 150. 150, this picture shows the 150 mental abilities of SOI model. Now we are individually discuss about the three dimensions. Operation consists of five now: cognition, memory, divergent production, convergent production, and evaluation. Cognition. What is cognition? The ability to understand, comprehend, discover, and become aware of information. Example: a child who can separate a mixed pile of squares or triangles into separate piles of squares and triangles is exercising a degree of cognition. Okay. Memory. Memory recording, the ability to encode information in the mind and to call out stored information in response to certain stimuli. And memory retention, the ability to recall the information. Divergent production, the ability to generate multiple solutions to a problem. Creativity. Example: a mathematician who discovers and proves an important mathematical theorem is exhibiting considerable ability in divergent production. Convergent production, the ability to reduce a single solution to a problem. Rule following or problem solving, etc. Example: in a algebra lesson, student who finds a correct solution to a set of three linear equations have used his or her convergent production ability. Uh, Evaluation. The ability to judge whether or not information is accurate, consistent, or valid. Example: if we want to solve mathematical problem, we think hard to solve it by simple method. J.P. Guilford's two important concept regarding divergent and convergent thinking. Uh, J.P. Guilford, though his model had been criticized, but his concept of divergent and convergent thinking is remarkably influential. Divergent thinking is employed for open-ended questions like how can the rainwater be harvested, which evokes various responses and which nourishes the creativity. Convergent thinking leads to close-ended question like in which year did the Battle of Palushi happen, to which one response with one correct answer we receive. Next, we see the difference between convergent thinker and divergent thinker. The convergent thinker should have logical, objective, should have the quality logical, objective, intellectual, realistic, planned, discriminative, structured, quantitative. A divergent thinker, they have intuition, subjectivity, emotionality, imaginative quality, impulsive, holistic, free willing, and qualitative. Next, the content dimension. Content dimension consists of five mental ability, that is visual, auditory, symbolic, semantic, and behavioral. Figural, concrete real world information, tangible objects, things in the environment. It is divided into two parts: visual, auditory. Visual, information perceived through seeing uh, or by sighting. Example: triangle, triangle, cubes, etc. Auditory, information perceived through hearing. Example: spoken words or music. Symbolic, information perceived as symbols or signs that have no meaning by themselves, such as numerals or the letters of an alphabet. It may be concrete or abstract. Semantic, which is concerned with verbal meaning and ideas which evokes a mental image. Example: sun, car, moon, etc. are words which evoke image in people's mind when they hear or read them. Behavioral, information perceived as acts of people such as facial expression or voice. Next, the third dimension, products dimension. It consists of units, classes, relations, systems, transformations, implications. Units, single item of knowledge or single symbol, figure, word, object, or idea. Example: each real number. Classes, sets of units sharing common attributes. It is a set of items grouped by virtue of their common properties. Example, set of real numbers. Relations, connections between items of informations. Example, equality and inequality, a relation in a set of real number. Systems, multiple relations interrelated to comprise structures or networks. It is a composition of units, classes, or relationship into a larger and more meaningful structure. Example, the set of real numbers together with the operations of addition, subtractions, multiplications, and divisions, and the algebraic properties of these operations. Transformations. It is a process of modifying, reinterpreting, and restructuring existing information into new information. The transformation ability is usually thought to be characteristic of creative people. Example, functions defined on a real number system. Implications, predictions, inferences, consequences, and anticipations of knowledge. Is a prediction or a conjecture about the consequences of interactions among units, classes, relations, systems, and transformations. Example, each theorem about function on the real numbers. Therefore, according to Guilford, there are 150 intellectual abilities or factors. Each ability stands for a particular operation in a particular content area and results in a specific product, such as comprehension of figural units and evaluation of semantic implications. Guilford's original model was composed of 120 components because he has not separated figural content into separate auditory or visual contents, nor had he separated memory into memory recording or memory retention. When he separated figural content, auditory, and visual contents, his model increased to 150 categories. When Guilford separated the memory functions, his model finally increased to the final 180 factors. Now, we see the three dimensions at a glance. Operation dimensions. It has now six mental abilities, that is cognition, memory recording, memory retention, divergent production, convergent production, evaluation. Content dimension. Five mental abilities: visual, auditory, symbolic, semantic, behavioral. Product dimension. It has six components: unit, classes, relation, system, transformations, implications. Total 6 into 5 into 6, 180. J.P. Guilford's structure of intellect chased by some criticisms. Guilford's approach is rejected by intelligence researchers who support the existence of a general factor of mental ability, which Spearman shows us. For example, according to Jensen 1998, Guilford's contention that a G factor was untenable was probably influenced by his observation that a considerable number of cognitive tests of US Air Force personnel did not show correlations that were significantly different from zero. Several researchers have criticized the statistical techniques used by Guilford. In one analysis, which used Guilford's own data and factorial procedures, randomly generated factorial theories was found to be as well supported as his own theory. Whatever may be, the latter researchers accepted Guilford's SY model. In their words, Guilford's SY model must therefore be marked down as a somewhat eccentric aberration in the history of intelligence models. That so much attention has been paid to it is disturbing, to the extent that textbooks and other treatments of it have given the impression that the model is valid and widely accepted when clearly it's not. Now, the implications in the field of education. SY models implications. The structure of intellect's philosophy is that intelligence is not fixed. Intelligence can be learned. IQ test implements narrow abilities where the structure of intellect measures a wide variety of abilities. need to consider all students are different, helpful for constructing various types of intelligence tests suitable to different age group, study individual difference in society, discovered many mental ability which were not known before. And now we conclude with J.P. Guilford. The learning of subject matter obviously involves the operations of cognition and memory, the constructing and the storing of items of information. Teaching must be tailored to fit each kind of information. That's absolutely true.